Welcome to our study called Did God Actually Say? And we're looking at Genesis 3, 1 through 7. Today we're looking at 6 through 7, and we've entitled this part called Sin Brings Shame. Let's look at the act of sin first, in verse 6. We get a glimpse here of what Eve was thinking about before she took the fruit off the tree. She saw that the tree had fruit that looked good to eat. There's nothing visibly wrong with the fruit that would make one not want to eat it. The fruit was a delight to look at. Why wouldn't she want to eat it? Next, she reasoned that eating the fruit would make her wise or give her special insight. She came to the conclusion from what the serpent had said. He promised she would be more like God, gaining knowledge. And so with this in mind, she took the fruit and ate it, and then she gave some to Adam, and he ate it. There was no ill will in Eve. Paul points out on several occasions that Eve was deceived into breaking God's command. Yet she did choose to transgress the command of God. See that in 1 Timothy 2:14. Adam, on the other hand, chose to be disobedient. God had given a plain, easy, and clearly expressed command, and Adam chose to go against it. Matthew Henry explains to us what happened. He sinned against great knowledge, against many mercies, against light and love, the clearest light and the dearest love that ever sinner sinned against. He had no corrupt nature within him to betray him, but he had a freedom of will, not enslaved, and was in full strength, not weakened or impaired. So we see how bad Adam's sin really was because of the goodness that he was sinning against. Well, let's look at verse 7 and the result of sin. In one word, Adam and Eve's transgression of God's command brought them shame. Verse 7 says that the eyes of both were opened. This is not about their physical eyes, for they both had seen the tree and the fruit, so their physical eyes had been open since they were created. This does not mean that they had gained knowledge, just as the serpent had said. They were not more like God, but unfortunately were now going to become less like God. Their eyes were open to what a horrible thing that they had done. Their consciences were pricked. Their hearts sunk inside them, and they began to feel corruption of their natures. They had a new nature now. Ligon Duncan said in reference to this, their eyes are opened. We find they are enlightened in the most horrifying way. They see for the first time in their lives nakedness. Now, in this context, this doesn't just mean the fact that they're without clothing. As you know, for a Hebrew, the worst thing that you could possibly be was naked, because to be naked carried with it, in the Hebrew mind, an innate sense of shame. For the first time in their human experience, they are feeling shame. They've been enlightened, and what was the result? Shame. Not satisfaction, not happiness, not godlike qualities, but shame. And of course, they rightly sense the need for covering, but their attempt is feeble. Fig leaves? That's going to solve your shame? It's the first attempt at works righteousness, and feeble indeed it is. So we see here, Adam's and Eve's sin throws them into a world of shame. And they make an attempt on trying to get out of it by sewing fig leaves together to cover themselves. But we'll see when we move on from verse 7 into verse 8 and following, it didn't work. It didn't work.